The car community has become very much jaded over the past couple of years. Of course, there are multiple reasons for that, but one big reason is a sole focus on attention and engagement from some of the content creators in the automotive space. I would be a hypocrite if I didn't acknowledge that some of my very own videos don't do that. However, I don't farm engagement to a point where it could genuinely have a negative effect on innocent people's lives. That's Alex Choi's job. Now, first, we need a little background on Alex. I used to watch his videos every once in a while, and even back then, he seemed a little immature, which is crazy because I was 14 and talk about him. He for sure had that daddy's money vibe to him. I mean, he did a couple things that made him come across as just one of those weird LA influencer types and that just lives for clicks and attention, but I never really got mad at his content. Again, there were a couple videos of him driving pretty recklessly, and like, that's not good, but I didn't really care how some trust fund kid was deciding to spend his parents' money or write off his parents' cars. Of course, somewhere along the way, I evolved past thinking bragging about your supercars and helicopters as a 20-something-year-old man is cool. I think I unfollowed him and just kind of forgot about the guy until a couple months ago. And one day, I was on Snapchat of all apps, and saw the name Alex Choi in between all the usual clickbaity gooner content, and I clicked on his story to see what he was up to. What I saw was pretty shocking. His story was just slide after slide of BeamNG level car crashes. Now, I know that people can't help watching a good car crash. I mean, IG Reels are popular for a reason, but something about Alex Choi stuff just kind of took me aback. He wasn't just chilling in some dark and slimy corner of Discord and collecting videos of people meeting God for his Snapchat, like some sort of twisted Pokemon cards. He was hitting the streets, actually touching grass, in search of his content. Now, I suppose the fact that he's actually risking something for this BS is kind of commendable. But it doesn't make me feel any better about what he's doing. He's still a snake with no regard for anyone's well-being except his own. And if you were wondering exactly what the average Alex Choi Snapchat video entails, don't worry. I've got receipts. Now, I don't know what YouTube will actually let me show, so I'm just going to describe what happens in some of these videos, so I don't get my channel taken down. So in the video, there's this guy who, from the looks of it, has had a bit too much ginger ale, and he's in a Honda Accord. And he's driving around, crashing into a bunch of stuff while Alex and a couple of LA's other top GDP contributors yell obscenities and assorted brain rot terms at him. He pulls out and does the race, hitting a fire truck in the process. After that, he runs into a parking garage and tries to get away from Alex Choi, the cops, and assorted other people who are running after him. In the garage, our brave protagonist, Alex, pulls out the most menacing of weapons and brandishes it against the drunk. He gets the dude on his back and handcuffs him. The day is saved. Alex Choi is hailed as a protector of the people. But in all seriousness, the only reason this guy can flip from antagonizing cops in his McLaren to working with them is because that's what gets him clicks nowadays. And a lot of his other videos are a lot less constructive, even though that last one wasn't exactly a shining example of good behavior. I specifically recall finding another video of a car crash involving some teen driver. I'm pretty sure old Alex was under the impression that she was drunk. She went through the steps with a cop, and it turns out that she was not in fact drunk. And the whole time Alex is just hovering at the scene and filming it like some sort of twisted content vulture. And he's also like saying all these like kind of sarcastic comments about her and her family. Like, it's messed up. It's not like it's quality content. Like, it's him walking around with a GoPro and a light. There's really no production value. On the rare occasions that he actually makes himself of use, he still has kind of a weird condescending tone that I mentioned earlier.
You just crashed your car.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? You just crashed your car.
To be fair, some of the people he is talking to are absolutely plastered, but harassing them and shining the mega sunlight torch in their face doesn't really do anything to help a crash situation. What it does is disorient and possibly piss people off, which causes some interesting reactions, and that's great for the engagement on Alex Choi's Snapchat stories. So I figured I'd add in a couple of his less gory but equally distasteful clips.
Some guy just drove his Porsche off Mulholland Drive, and it landed all the way down there. Down this whole cliff. Into somebody's backyard. Look at this guy's tennis court. And the car is in his property. There's no fucking way. Oh my. I cannot make this up. I found this guy's key. I mean, I put it back down where I found it, but I actually found this guy's key right here. No. And the car is right there, right behind the woods. So it looks like the fire department left, obviously many hours ago, because it's 7 in the morning. And once they rescued this guy, I'm assuming by helicopter, because that's like the only way out. And I had to literally hike an hour to get here. They just drew a bunch of X's on it.
So this clip is, if you couldn't tell, is him finding a Porsche that flew off a cliff into someone's backyard. The next day, he walks down to look at the crash and is talking about how the driver had to be airlifted. And he's like, oh, well, no, this is public property. Even though last night he's saying, oh, this is someone's backyard. So, you don't really know what to believe. Even that aside, this would be kind of distasteful, even if he didn't have a camera. But he walks down there with his GoPro and all that, and it's just weird. It's insane that he sees this sort of thing. Someone has to get airlifted from a crash, and he's like, oh, let me film it. Let me go back the day after, hike down for an hour, and film where someone possibly died. It's messed up. And then he has the nerve to talk about how the guy ran out of talent in some sort of condescending way. Again, condescending, like, real snarky, spoiled rich, whatever. Like, this could have been you with the way you drive in the same roads, in the same hills. He's no self-awareness. And I don't know about you guys, but if I was a first responder, I wouldn't really want some random dude filming me as I try to do my incredibly dangerous job in the middle of the night in LA. Oh, and speaking of dangerous, when LA was burning to the ground a couple months ago, he went out on dirt bikes and filmed the whole spectacle with a couple of his other lackeys. Wildfires aren't really one of those things that needs to be vlogged. And I didn't see him doing any other sort of relief, like organizing food drives or fundraisers to help people rebuild. It was really just, let me film this so I can get a little bit of AdSense. And even after that, he's still posting. And as I'm writing this, I have his Snap story open on another tab, and there are multiple videos on there of him doing his nerdy ass commentary over people literally getting wheeled into an ambulance. And he's always saying something like, please don't drink and drive, which is a great message, but it's coming from the wrong guy. Remember, this was the same fellow that filmed a friend of his jumping their Tesla, destroying hundreds of thousands of dollars in private property, and then driving off. Oh, and if you think he has the same disapproving tone towards that guy, you'd be mistaken. He didn't care. Comfortable Moose 88 on Reddit pretty much summed up this situation perfectly while discussing the idiotic stunt that got Choy's license suspended. He said, Choy is a piece of garbage. Go look at his Snapchat. He's been in Ventura walking through the smoldering remains of people's homes in the mountain fire. He's off at SEMA following car meets and morons, and chases LA streets looking for car accidents and DUI wrecks with a press vest on. He's even on video shining his light in police and CHP faces because they're doing it to him, so he's got to do it back.
Dudes like him don't last long in life.
And I couldn't agree more. Choy is pretty much that one annoying kid from high school that did every drug imaginable, rode off multiple cars, and half-assed every class, but never really had to deal with any consequences because his family had more cheddar than the Kraft factory. Alex Choi is just kind of one of those people that he lets his privilege go to his head, and he just doesn't care about anyone else. He wants the attention. That's it. Oh, and if you, yes, you enjoyed this abomination of a video, could you please help a fellow out and like it? Also, next video I'm going to switch it up and kind of make a documentary thing. So if you're interested in seeing what sort of stuff I'll make after my hater arc, stick around because I might post a little more in the next couple of months. And again, thanks for watching.